In this chapter of Bigfoot 101, we're going to cover one of the most important aspects in the entire paint correction process, and that is your test spot. It really helps you define what combination of products, what technique, and everything you're going to use to address the majority of the vehicle. A lot of people want to skip past this step, or they want to get right into the process, but there's no bigger mistake that you can make than just running headlong into a detail without knowing what combination of products is going to get the result that you want. So why do we do the test spot? We want to define the things that we're going to be using for the majority of the correction. Most importantly, we want to dial in that pad and compound combination to get the optimal result for the particular car we're working on. And that combination could be different on every single vehicle you try to address. Every vehicle has a different level of defect, different hardness of paint. So this spot becomes very, very important to your entire process. When you perform your test spot, you're going to end up with pretty much one of three results. One, everything worked exactly as you expected. You wipe that compound off and bam, the result is exactly what you want. Feel free to proceed from there. Don't adjust anymore. You've got the right combination of products. You may have a second result, which is the defects are gone, but maybe you produced a haze, or there's some kind of after effect from that initial heavy compounding or maybe medium compounding step. In that case, you can adjust maybe the aggressiveness level of the pad or compound, or you can plan to do a second step with something more mild to address that light defect and get to the end result. The third possible option is you wipe the compound off and the defects are still there and you're just not seeing a lot of progress. That's a clear indication that you are working with maybe a combination of products that is not aggressive enough for the defect that you're working on, or maybe the paint is very hard and you're going to need a more aggressive combination to get through that defect into that desired finish level. So how do you perform this test spot? It's really going to be your standard application. You're going to do an area about the size that we recommend in the earlier chapters in the definitions. You're going to go through a full polishing cycle as if you were addressing the entire vehicle, but you're going to want to do this to define that combination of products. Typically, we recommend that you start with our DA fine polishing compound, the yellow top bottle, and our yellow medium wool pad. This is found to be the most common or the broadest range of performance, and it's going to give you the best chance for success on that test spot. It's also a very easy point to adjust up or down from by simply changing a pad or changing the compound to fine-tune those results. You're going to prime the pad before you do this. So if you have not watched the chapter of Bigfoot 101 on pad priming, I recommend you go do that now, because you have to have that pad primed before you perform your test spot. But enough talking about test spots. Let's send it out to Jason in the Academy again and have him show you exactly how it's done.
So thanks for coming to the Bigfoot Academy garage. Let's go through the procedure on the test spot. So we have already primed our pad. Please refer to the other chapter on priming pads. We have already primed our pad, so we're doing now what's called a reload, which is simply 2 pea-sized dots of compound on the pad. And then we're going to do a full application. We're doing our yellow combination for reasons that we talked about on the priming section, but this is middle of our range. So our purpose for this test spot is to really identify what combination is going to go after this level of defects on this particular car. So we're going to do a full application. We're going to readjust our speed setting to speed 4. The priming speed was speed 2. We are going to operate the tool at speed 4. We're going to do an application area that's roughly about 6 times the pad size diameter that we're working with. I'm going to go back and forth with several section passes. Then we're going to evaluate the results. And that completes our application. When I wipe off this residue, we're going to look for one of those 3 outcomes that was talked about in the classroom. So let's wipe this residue off. So what I'm observing here is that we have not removed all the defects. There's roughly probably only 30, 40%. Some of the defects are gone, but clearly there's a lot of scratching left. So what that tells us is this particular car with this particular combo is a little bit of a mismatch because the paint is likely on the hard side and our defects are on the severe side. So we will need to make an adjustment if our desire is to get all of these defects out and to get clear, glossy, finish. So we're going to make this adjustment. We're going to do another application. This is part 2 of our test spot. We're not happy with this result. We're going to try and get a better result, but we're going to do it with a more aggressive combination. So for that, we're going to go to our blue combination, our DA coarse compound, and our DA coarse wool pad. I've already primed this pad. Please refer to that section, that chapter on priming pads. So we will do a reload again. Now this is just 2 pea-sized dots of compound. That's our reload. We will do a repeat of the application that we just did exactly the same way, hoping for a different result. Now we don't want to do it in the same spot we did before. We're going to find fresh defects and do a new test spot. All right, there's our full application. We will wipe this residue off, evaluate the results now. Much better defect removal and even a better finish. So this looks like a much better combo. What we've learned is about this particular car, the paint's on the hard side, the defects are on the severe side. So that test spot procedure resulted in us concluding that our pad and liquid combination is a little bit on the aggressive side. However, we still were able to do it in one step. So this is the ideal purpose of this test spot, is to dial in what is the combo of tool, pad, and liquid to reach that defect-free, glossy, clear finish that we're looking for. So we've done the test spot on hard paint. Now I wonder what would happen on soft paint. So let's try a test spot on this car to see what kind of paint we end up with. We'll start with our yellow combination, the DA Fine and the yellow wool. So once again, we're going to run this test spot as a normal standard application in one area. We'll evaluate the results and we'll see. This is going to tell us if we have hard or soft or somewhere in between. Standard application size. Take our towel here, wipe this residue off. And actually what we see here is this is a great result in terms of defect removal. However, there's a little slight pad mark I'm looking at here. So that is the indicator that tells us that we have paint on the softer side. So we will redo our test spot by changing the pad combination here. Going to our yellow foam, and we will repeat this application in a new area. I've already primed this pad. We're going to go over here and We'll wipe this residue off and see what result we have compared to this area here. And that is exactly what I had hoped for. So this combination here removed all the defects but left a much better finish. So this is a much better combination on the soft paint for this average to moderate defects here.
That is two great examples of the types of paint you might encounter, maybe on your car, a customer's car, or any car for that matter. Something on the hard end, something on the soft end, and the adjustments you're going to need to make to find that perfect harmony between the components to get the result you want. It's really unusual, actually, and a great example that we were able to get such a high quality finish with such an aggressive combination on the harder paint, because typically you may run into a situation where that will remove the defects, but then you might want to do a second step just to refine that finish a touch more, bring out that additional gloss. It's also important to note that there is no real way to know if your paint or on the particular vehicle you're working on is hard or soft until you do this test spot. You might read things on the internet, on social media, that'll say a particular make and model is harder or softer to correct, or the paint has certain characteristics. The truth of the matter is that every vehicle is going to be different, from the type of life it's lived in terms of elemental exposure, the severity of the defects. Even a car with the same year, make, and model and the same color can vary in hardness based on what time of year it was painted. The factory could have changed paint suppliers, or that car could have spent more time outside. It could have been refinished. There's a number of variables that come into play. The key takeaway here is that you have to do that test spot to understand the type of paint you are working on so that you can find the best process to address that particular car. We really hope you're enjoying the Bigfoot 101 series, and we hope you'll stick with us for more chapters. We got a lot more great information headed your way.